Catan is a game made up of tactful strategy, luck of the dice, and forceful placement. Most people would think that there is no particular way to beat Catan, as it is heavily based on the roll of the dice. But really, there are certain strategies that you can use to put yourself at an advantage and reach the 10 victory points first. So, here's how you can win Catan every time. Don't play resources, play the odds. This is a dice game. Given that, be careful. Don't just surrender to the absolute randomness of the numbers that may or may not produce resources when the dice are rolled. Pay attention to the numbers, not resources, that statistically are the most likely to appear. Each hexagonal resource in Catan gets a round chit placed on top of them. Each chit shows the number that needs to be rolled to produce the resource, represented to any player with an adjacent settlement. And below each number are a series of dots. These dots indicate how much likely the number is to appear on a given roll of the dice. The more dots, the more likely that number is to be rolled, meaning the more likely those resources will be handed out. The 2 and 12 chits get a single dot because they each take a very specific roll. 6 and 8 are somewhat common, and 7 being the most popular. When looking for intersections to play your first settlements, pay less attention to the type of resource and more attention to the number of dots on the hex tiles that make up that intersection. The type of resource matters less than the frequency of obtaining it. After all, resources can be traded to the bank at a 4-to-1 ratio, or at ports for an even better return. While the introductory game comes with a recommended board layout, later games are played on a randomized hex tile layout. Take a close look at these random layouts at the start of the game. Are there 2 of the same resource next to each other? Is at least one of the numbered chits on those tiles reasonably high? Consider placing a settlement in the most advantageous intersection of those tiles. Then, build roads and additional settlements around them to block your opponents from doing the same. You'll be the only one with that resource, so never trade it away. Next, balance the longest road with more additional resources. Building roads and settlements are the best way to expand your ability to gain resources on a given turn. When you play the odds, you can gain those cards either through dice rolls or through trading. Focusing on gaining wood and brick will allow you to expand your road system. Build 5 continuous road segments and you can claim the longest road tile and 2 victory points that come along with it. Your long road should also allow you to build extra settlements. This not only increases your chances at those additional settlement resources, but also influences what tiles your opponents have and their settlement access, and therefore what resources they can produce on a roll of the dice. As such, if you can isolate an opponent to a small area of the board, you can decrease their chances of winning considerably. In a game that's all about resource, sometimes you need to be cutthroat to win. But be careful with this strategy, since someone else can easily build a longer road and steal your points. Next, development cards. Development cards are the only true hidden element in Catan. Sheep, wheat, and ore gets you the top card from the deck. Once you read it, you lay it face down in front of you, where it festers, creating suspicion amongst your opponents until you choose to use it. Given the distribution of the types of development cards in the deck, the odds are that you're likely to draw a soldier. That's not necessarily a bad thing. Soldiers can be used to move the robber of one of your tiles, or just to move it to a place that will hinder your opponents. Even better, 3 soldiers gets you the largest army. As with the longest road, the largest army gets you 2 victory points, as long as you can hold on to it until the end of the game. Even if you don't draw a soldier, you're still going to draw a helpful card, possibly one of the city building cards that are worth 1 victory point each. Just remember, trading is a key part of your success. In the early rounds, when everyone is looking to expand, people are often willing to freely trade with each other. Different strategies require different resources, so exchanges can almost seem friendly. Later in the game, however, things are different. When someone is offering a trade for a resource, it's only because they need that resource for something that would help them towards getting another victory point. Just how badly do you really need the resource they're offering? Is it really worth giving them another point? More importantly, how badly do they need the resource that you have? Friendly trading takes place on a 1-to-1 ratio, but friendly trading doesn't win games. If you have a resource someone really needs, push for a 2-to-1 or a 3-to-1 ratio. And don't limit yourself to expecting only one type of resource in exchange for the one you have that they really need. If you're on the other side of this deal, instead of trading with players, trade with the bank. On your turn, you may trade any 4 cards of a single resource for 1 card of any other resource. This is a steep exchange rate, but one that keeps your resources out of the hands of your opponent.